last few years have seen Nigeria's budgetary calendar year dislocated with overlapping periods, making their performance more difficult and with attendant negative impact on business and economy. The root cause may, however, be found in the irregular calendar of the budget preparations by the executive, followed by a period of budgetary defense and deliberations at the National Assembly, and followed by the executive branch vetting before the president appends his signature. As Nigeria enters the final month of the first quarter 2018, not a word has been heard from the executive on when Budget 2017 that started in June last year will terminate. There is also no word on the balance of expenditure and outstanding projects from 2017. Now the budget for 2018 is passing through another cycle of delays and blame game between the executive and the legislature. But the Senate President Bukola Saraki says there will be no more delays, at least from his Senate chamber.
As we all know, it's our intention this year to pass the general budget along with the parastatals budget. And as such, parastatals as well should ensure that they do not also cause any delay, because we're not going to pass the general budget without the budget of the parastatals, because we gave them a deadline also for the parastatals to make sure that they've submitted their budget. Anything that doesn't come by end of next week, the subcommittees should just complete the exercise and work with whatever they have. I think I rule on that. That's the position of the Senate. Thank you.
One of the key constraints the administration faces is the smooth preparation, debate, passage, and implementation of its budgets. Boston Amafaye, Channels Television News.
Well, to shed some light on the development, why are we where we are about the budget? Has it been passed? What's going on? Let's go to Abuja for some answers.
Well, yes, Mr. Ben Akabueze joins us now. He is the Director General of the Budget Office. You're welcome to Sunrise Daily.
Thank you. My pleasure.
I think it was a couple of weeks back we heard the Deputy Senate President, Ike Kurumadu, complain that members of the parastatals and also of the ministries have refused to come and defend their budget, and that the way things are going, they are going to simply pass the budget anyway, or pass it how they deem fit, and nobody should come and complain. I don't know if you saw that particular video and what your thoughts were when you saw it.
Well, I mean, when we saw that, we followed through to find out what exactly the matter was, and, through the presidential liaison with the National Assembly, and we were told that the issue was with the government-owned enterprises, the parastatals and the other agencies. And we, stepped in immediately, intervened. The Senate, it was the Senate actually who we raised the issue, as you rightly pointed out, and we found out there was one of the parastatals whose details, the way they presented their details, they said they were, happy with, and we, immediately got a copy of that from the particular parastatal. We wrote a circular to all the other agencies asking them to adopt and adapt that format. The truth is, for these agencies, their mandates and their businesses are they're disparate, so you can't have a standard template for budget preparation for all of them. And so we said for them to adopt and adapt the format that the Senate had indicated they were comfortable with, and to send them to us. We gave them a deadline. Most of them have now, submitted. We've forwarded those. But the point that we make is the budgets for these government-owned enterprises is distinct from the federal government's main budget.
In other words, yes, the federal government's budget can be passed without waiting for those from the
absolutely, enterprises. And that's always been the case.
Okay, so what then do we make of the fact that it's March already, and this was a budget that was submitted in November? We understand that there was a meeting between the presidency, the executive arm of government, and some members of the National Assembly, and some agreement was reached on trying to maintain a financial year of January to December, and as such everybody should try and achieve that. So people thought that, okay, well, budget submission was late. I mean, in November, 1st of November or thereabouts when it was submitted, and that it would have been unfair to ask the lawmakers to, compress everything, to look at it within 2 months. Maybe they could have. But then, stretching into 5 months now, there are questions to be asked. What precisely is going on?
Well, basically, we are also keen to, get answers to that question. And for those of us in the budget office in particular, it's quite frustrating. The 2017 budget wasn't passed until June. Okay, and as you observed, there was some understanding that if we presented the 2018 budget by October, the National Assembly would endeavor to pass the budget before January, and that's one of the key reforms in the public finance management that we, from the budget office were driving. We got the budget ready in October. There were scheduling, challenges in, agreeing the date for the president to present the budget, and so that didn't happen eventually until the 7th of November. And so, yes, it seemed then that the goal of getting it passed by the end of December would not happen, but we had hoped for a January passage. For us in the budget office, when the budget was passed in June, for us to have the 2018 budget ready, passed by FEC by October, meant that we really worked ourselves to the bones. And so that's why for us, it's pretty frustrating that it's taking this, as we stand ready to respond to whatever issues there are that have been brought to our attention. As I said, when the matter of government-owned enterprises, and by the way, let me make the point that in the budget box that the president laid before the National Assembly on the 7th of June, you had the budgets of these parastatals. Normally the president submits the summary budgets as an attachment. The National Assembly, however, in then considering the budgets of those agencies, okay, may call for details, and as they've done in this case, is they've looked at what Mr. President laid before them, and they said they were only satisfied with the level of detail provided by one, and they said they wanted others to scale up their. That's what this is about. Not that those government-owned enterprises never submitted a budget in the first instance. So, if there are any other MDAs that haven't responded to the National Assembly in terms of stepping forward to provide details, we're quite happy to intervene and try and make that happen. But we're not aware of such. The Minister for Budget and National Planning is standing ready to weigh in with his colleagues, the ministers, should there be a challenge with any of them.
You haven't quite told us, first and foremost, which ones are the government-owned enterprises. Can you give us an instance of this?
The government-owned enterprises would include your, competition, the NTA, okay. I mean, NCC, basically Central Bank, the Bank of Agriculture, well, not quite, the structure of BOI, there's some involvement there, so it's not quite a parastatal like, like the others. And then you have all the regulatory agencies, NAFDAC, NERC, as all of those
so those are the
agencies.
Government-owned